Are you taking a practical driving test soon and wondering what the examiner will look for? In this video, I'm going to be driving around Greenslope test area and I'll be giving you some tips and tricks along the way, and hopefully that will help you out if you are doing a practical driving test sometime in the near future. Hello and welcome to Signal Driving School YouTube channel. My name is Chris and I'm a driver trainer at Signal Driving School. If you are new here, please consider subscribing to our channel and also turn on the notification bell so that you get notified every time we upload new videos. Also check us out on Instagram, Signal Driving School Australia. So when you book your driving test and you've booked it either at Greenslopes or any other centers that you're going to do your driving test at, you need to make sure that you arrive 20 minutes before the test and then go to the office to let them know that you've arrived. And then they check your driver's license and they ask you a few questions as well. Greenslopes is actually located about 10 minutes from Brisbane CBD, and it's one of those centers that many people consider doing their driving test at. So they do the driving test on weekdays and they also do it on Saturdays. When it comes to Greenslopes, a lot of people have a lot of opinions about it. So some people think that Greenslopes is easy, and then some people say that doing the driving test at Greenslopes is challenging. But then whether the driving test is easy or it's challenging, if you've done enough practice, there should be no reason why you shouldn't pass your driving test either at Greenslopes or any other centers. So make sure you practice. So put in a lot of practice and don't just practice in one area only. Don't just do maneuvers. If you're doing your driving test, you need to cover all the areas of driving. You need to be very good at roundabouts. You need to be good at changing lanes. You need to be good at doing your maneuvers, driving on main roads, driving on the highway, driving in residential areas. So all of those places, they have their own challenges. So if you're doing a driving test, basically, if you do enough practice, you should be okay. The driving examiner at Greenslopes, they are pretty nice. So they are very understanding. So like they know that if someone is coming to do their driving test, they know that the person is nervous. You shouldn't really have to worry too much if you've done your practice. If you've practiced and maybe you've done some driving lessons with an instructor. So it doesn't have to be an instructor maybe from Signal Driving School. It can be any experienced driving instructor, and they'll be able to pick up some of the areas where you need to work on. And if they give you feedback, if your instructor have given you feedback, try and fix those things before you actually come to do a practical driving test. In today's video, I'm going to be driving around and I'll be talking you through what I'm doing. And obviously the route that I'm gonna take, it does not mean that this is the exact route that the examiner is going to take. So the examiner, they have a lot of routes that they choose from, and really it's really hard to tell. But we obviously, because we teach people, we train people, we know some of the places where the examiners might go. But anyone who can tell you that they know the test route, they are not telling the truth, because the driving examiners, they change the routes all the time, and actually sometimes they may even alter the route based on how they see someone is driving. They are quite experienced, they know what they're doing. If they see someone has a lot of weaknesses in maybe changing lanes or maybe driving in residential areas, they are definitely gonna pick those places. The best thing to do, prepare yourself. And having said that as well, if you are interested in doing a free mock test, if you're not sure whether you are ready for the driving test or not, and you would like us to give you a free mock test for our YouTube channel, you can get in touch with us. So you can contact us on Instagram, Signal Driving School Australia, or you can reach us on our website, signaldrivingschool.com.au/mock tests, and then we'll be able to arrange a mock test where we can give you feedback on how you are going with your driving. So the centers that we can do the mock test are Greenslopes, Sherwood, Toowong, Castlederm, Zulmia, Strathpine, Redcliffe, Caboolture. We can also do Wynnum, Cleveland, and Logan. So if you are interested in doing a free mock test at any of those centers, get in touch with us and then we'll see if we can arrange a mock test for you. Otherwise, you can just watch the video and enjoy the video. And if you're doing a driving test, hopefully this drive or maybe some of the other videos that we've done will help you out to pass your driving test. Okay, so let's get started. So basically, the first thing you need to keep in mind when you come to the Greenslopes is the car park is actually underground. So you need to make sure that when you come, there is an area which is designated for driving test cars. So you go there and then you make sure that you park your vehicle in that area. So once you've parked the car, and then you go to the office, the examiner will come to the car and then they will check. They will ask you to maybe indicate left and indicate right. Now what happens when you come back with the driving examiner, I'm just gonna show you now. So you take your key. The examiners, most of the time, they actually don't want you to start the car, so they just want you to put it in pre-ignition, and then they'll be standing outside and then they'll say indicate left, and then they'll say indicate right, and then they'll ask you to press the brake, and also they'll ask you to beep the horn. So those are the kind of things they do when they're outside the car. Usually it's also a good idea to wind down your window, so put your window down so that you hear what the examiner is going to say. Otherwise, if they stand outside, you may not be able to hear them if your window is closed. And then from there, once the examiner comes inside the vehicle, you need to make sure that you put on your seat belt. And then the examiner is going to say, when you're ready, you can start the car. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my vehicle now. And then, so once you're ready, at the moment I'm actually inside the car park, but I'm not really where they start the driving test because I don't want to obstruct people who are going for their driving test. So if I park there, I may take up the space, so I'm in the opposite side. So here I'm gonna put in drive, check around, indicate left, looks good, so it looks good, so I can go. All right, so I'm just gonna be going outside. Exiting this car park is one of the challenging things that you need to be careful with. So a lot of people, they mess up when they're exiting the car park. So you need to make sure that you don't rush anything. I think I'm gonna be going right at this one. But your driving test won't start necessarily here. It's just that where I park now, I need to get to where they actually start the driving test. Looks easy, looks good, so I can go. There's a lot of pedestrian crossings as well, so it's always good to check around. Just make sure you don't rush anything. Now I'm gonna be going right. So checking, looking out for pedestrians. Then I'm gonna go right again. There's no one coming, so I can go. So the driving test starts in that area there. But I'm not gonna park because I'll be taking up the space. So usually your driving test, you'll be starting around here, and then when you get to the end of this one, the examiner will say go right. So I'm gonna put on my right signal. Now there's a car wash here. Also there is a mirror there which shows you where you need to go. So you need to make sure you check, making sure no one is there. When you're getting out, taking it easy, making sure you don't rush anything. So I'm gonna put on a left indicator because it's a left turn only. This car park, getting out, taking the time, taking it easy, not rushing anything. And then at the end here, I'm going to be going left. Sometimes the examiner can also go right. So at this point, the examiner will decide where to go. They can either go left or right, but I'm gonna go left. And let's say the examiner has asked me to go left at the next street. So check my mirrors, indicate left. Now this street is also very narrow, so I have to be careful because if I rush anything, it can be a problem. So it's quite narrow, and there's the cars parked on the side as well. So there are cars parked on the side. At the end of the street, I'm gonna go right. So I'm gonna put on my indicator, check my mirrors. It's quite narrow, so I'm gonna actually stay on the left. I'm not gonna go too much to the right, otherwise I'm gonna be blocking the, like, see, like this car is entering this road as well. Checking around, there's no one else coming, so I can turn. Once I turn, there's some speed bumps, so making sure I don't go more than 20 kilometers per hour. Also, there is a lot of cars parked on the side, so I need to be careful not to be too close to them. I'm gonna be taking the next left, so indicate left, slow down nice and early. I have a right of way, so I can turn. There's a car parked on the left, so I need to make sure I'm not too close to it. At the end of the street, I'm gonna be going left, so I'm gonna indicate, check my mirrors. There's a giveaway sign, but there's a car there. It's also a closed junction, so I need to be careful not to rush anything. I'm gonna be taking the next right, but there's a blind spot, so indicating right, check my mirrors. There's a motorbike behind me, but that's fine. And then I can turn. Once I turn here, now at this point, if you look ahead, you can't actually see, but there's actually a stop sign coming up. So a lot of people here, they come flying at 50 and they miss this stop sign. So I need to make sure that I stop, completely stop, look both ways, there's no one coming, so I can go. There's another stop sign coming up, also checking my mirror. The motorbike is still behind me, but that's fine. So here there's another stop sign, so I'm gonna stop again completely. Look both ways. It's gone ahead of me, so that's all right. Then I can go. So at the end of the street, I'm gonna be going right. So I'm gonna be putting on my right indicator, check my mirrors. Again, here there's a lot of cars parked on the side. So it's quite a busy road, this one. So need to make sure I don't rush anything. Maybe I should creep forward a little bit. There's cars parked on both sides, and it's also a busy road. So sometimes it can take a while to turn on this street here. Okay, I think there's a gap coming up, so I think I'm gonna take it. Alright, once I turn right, check my mirror. At this point, I didn't see any speed limit, so I'm actually gonna keep it around 50. And then at the traffic lights, I'm gonna be going left. So there's cars on my left. I'm gonna put on my indicator, check my mirrors. The traffic light is out. It's not working, so I need to be careful. And then I can turn because there was no one turning right. Then I'm gonna be going left. So I'm gonna put on my left indicator, check my mirrors. I'm also gonna do a shoulder check because there's a big gap on the left. And then I turn. Once I turn in this street, I don't see the speed limit. I didn't see the speed limit. So I'm gonna assume it's 50 because it's a residential area. Keeping the speed nicely. I'm doing around 46 at the moment, which is fine. I'm gonna be taking the next right. So I'm gonna be putting on my right indicator, checking my mirrors. There's a blind spot, so I need to be careful. And then I turn. Once I turn here, check my mirrors. There's cars parked on the left. So I'm gonna slow down a little bit because there's actually another vehicle approaching. So I'm actually gonna go a bit to the left and give way to it. Okay, it's pulling over on the left, so that's fine. Checking my mirrors again. At the end of the street, I'm gonna go right. Indicator, check my mirrors. Slow down nice and early. This is, there's no marking, so it's a giveaway sign. check both ways. There's no one coming, so I don't have to stop completely. And then once I turn here, I don't see the sign, so it's 50. Making sure I'm not too close to the cars on the left. Now, let's say you get here and then the examiner does not say anything. Always be a little bit careful if that happens, because there is 3 signs there, 4 signs. No right turn, left only, and there's also a stop sign. So I must go left. And I make sure I stop completely as well. There is a stop sign. Once I stop, I think I'm ready to go. So on that street, if you go straight, that's it. The test is finished, because you cannot disobey that left only sign. You have to go left. Okay, once I turn in this street, the speed limit here is 60. But if you miss the sign here, you can assume it's 50. And then here there is an intersection coming up, so if the examiner didn't say anything, so I need to be careful again. Actually, there is a left only marking sign, so again here the examiner won't say anything. They will just let you do your thing. So I'm just gonna wait. Making sure I'm not too close to the cars in front. There's also a pedestrian who looks like they want to cross, so I need to be careful that I don't go too close to them. So that's going left, so I can actually turn. Once I turn, make sure I remove my indicator, check my mirrors. So the speed limit here is around 60. Let's say the examiner has asked me to change lane, so I'm gonna check my mirrors, indicator, mirrors again, shoulder check, and then I go. And then there is a speed limit of 40. So at the moment the time is around 2:40, so I need to actually do 4:40 because it's during school time, so school zone. And then once I pass another sign, I can speed up again. So do again around 60. I think I left the back windows open, so a bit of noise there. Scan through the traffic lights as well. Checking my mirrors every now and then. All right. Scanning through intersections, checking my mirrors. Now the light says change to amber, so I need to make sure that I slow down, check my mirrors as well, and then I stop nicely behind this car, making sure I'm not too close to them. Okay, the light says changed, so it's scanning through intersections. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go right at the next traffic lights. So when I'm close enough, I'm gonna check my mirrors, I'm gonna put on my indicator. I'm gonna get into the right lane as soon as I can. I'm gonna start slowing down nice and early. And then I check my mirror as I brake as well, because I have to stop. And then make sure I'm not too close to the car in front. I mean, so if you do those things in the test, you're checking your mirrors and you're keeping everything as safe as possible, there is no reason why you shouldn't pass the driving test. So the driving test is all about safety. The examiner is just checking to see how safe you are on the road. So if they see that you are safe, you're checking your mirrors, you're not going too close to other cars and stuff like that, then that's fine. They will give you your license. Okay, so these traffic lights, I'm going, making sure it doesn't change, scanning through the intersection, and I can turn. Sometimes those lights, they change for a very short period of time, so always look out. I've entered this street, I didn't see the speed limit, so I'm gonna assume it's 50. And also there is a sign on there was a sign which says 30 kilometers per hour, so I need to be a little bit slow around this bend. Okay, once I pass the bend, I can speed up again. This street is actually 60, but if you didn't see the sign, then probably it's better to do 50. Because I think what happens is they put the sign right at the start of the traffic light sometime, which is hard to see. So if you don't know the area well and you turn into a street like this, maybe sometimes it's always best to assume 50. So there's a sign here, but I think there was another one at the start. And I'm gonna be going right, so I'm gonna indicate, check my mirrors. Now this says M3, so that's the motorway, so I need to be careful because that means I need to speed up. So I'm gonna turn. Now when I turn here, I still need to check again there, because this intersection is a little bit different. Once I turn into this one, I'm gonna speed up because this is the on-ramp. So merging on the motorway, the examiner wants you to speed up, get up to the speed. So usually around 80 kilometers per hour before you merge. So put on my indicator, checking my mirrors, shoulder check, then I go. And I'm gonna slow down because there is these cars in front, they're actually slowing down as well. So I'm just gonna keep it slow. Checking my mirrors every now and then. So with the motorway, usually the hardest thing is to merge. Once you merge, usually everything is pretty much just driving in a straight road. And usually the examiner will take the next exit. So they just want to see how you merge and how you exit. Checking my mirrors every now and then. I see the car in front is indicating, so I don't know why they are doing that. And then someone also just got in front of me, so I need to slow down a bit. And then let's say the examiner has asked me to take the next exit on the left. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on my indicator, check my mirrors on the left, just in case there's like a motorbike. And then I exit. Once I exit, I need to slow down. I need to make sure that I'm doing 60 by the time I hit this sign. So 60. Check my mirror again, because I need to make sure the car in front, the car behind is not too close to me. I'm also gonna stick in this right lane here. Now, let's say the examiner has asked you to go right at the next traffic light. So not these traffic lights, the next ones. A lot of time, I think people get it wrong because they leave the merging into the turning lane to the last minute. So like here, once the examiner has given you instruction, make sure you get into that lane as soon as you can. All right. And then let's say the examiner has asked me to go right here. If the examiner has asked you to go right, you need to make sure that you can choose either lane if they didn't say anything. Sometimes they tell you which lane to use, but if they didn't say anything, you can just be in this lane or you can be in that lane. So both of them are fine in this situation. But then if they have asked you to go in the far right lane, then you need to make sure you are in that lane quite early. Don't leave it until the last minute. Okay, the light has changed, so I'm gonna scan through the traffic lights and then I make my turn. Once I turn here, there's another traffic light, so I check my mirror, make sure I'm not too close to the car in front, and then I stop. So the light has just changed now. So I'm gonna start moving. I'm gonna scan through the traffic lights. There's another traffic light as well. Check through as well. Make sure it doesn't change to amber. Let's say the examiner has asked me to change into the middle lane, so I'm gonna check around, indicate right, check the mirror. The car is too far, so I can do a shoulder check, and then I move. Once I move, I'm gonna remove my indicator. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go right at the next traffic light. Now, if you don't know the area, the best thing that you can do is to get into the right lane. But actually, this lane can also go right. Okay, these traffic lights are out as well, so I need to slow down. So if traffic lights are out like that as well, slowing down is the best thing to do. So I don't know what happened there. Okay. Then I've turned into this road here. The speed limit is around 60, but it's during school time, so I need to make sure that I slow down to around 40. Check my mirrors every now and then. Make sure I'm not too close to the cars in front. Make sure I'm in my lane. There's another red light coming up, so I'm gonna plan ahead. I don't have to speed up now because I'm gonna be stopping anyway. So once I brake, I check my mirror, make sure I'm not too close to the car in front, and then I stop. So while stopped here, looking ahead, trying to see what's happening ahead, because sometimes there may be something going on, you never know. So always checking. Even when you are stationary like this, it's always a good idea to like look ahead and see what's going on. Okay, so the lights has changed. So I'm gonna start accelerating. Once I pass through these traffic lights, I'm gonna check around, look around. Now at this point, usually, sometimes the driving test might be almost over, but I'm just gonna take you a little bit, go a bit further but sometimes the examiner might just maybe take you somewhere and they may probably do like 1 or 2 maneuvers and that's it. But I'm gonna go straight. So there's another traffic light here, scanning through the traffic lights. There's a bend as well, so I need to make sure I'm not too fast. And then keeping the car in the middle of the lane as well. So there's checking my mirrors here because there's a lane which is joining this one. So it says they form 2 lanes. Checking my mirrors every now and then. Scanning through the traffic lights. There's another lane on the left, it's joining this one, so I'm gonna check my mirrors. I'm also gonna do a quick shoulder check on the left. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go left, so I'm gonna indicate left, slow down, check my mirrors, and then I can turn because the traffic light is green. Once I turn in this street, I don't see the speed limit, so I'm gonna assume it's 50. Checking my mirrors every now and then. Also here I'm gonna slow down because there is a person there with a sign. Looks like they wanted to walk into the road, so I need to be careful that I don't rush anything. Because if they're walking and they hold up that sign, I must stop. If you are doing your driving test, you need to be careful there, because if you don't stop, the examiner is going to have to intervene, and then that's not good. Okay, no entry. So I'm going to slow down and watch where the road is going to go. So it's a sharp bend. A lot of people get confused here for some reason. They get there and then they get confused, where do they go, but it's actually a bend. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go right, so I don't know if you noticed I slowed down because that car was parking. So sometimes you have to notice those things like this, like that. Checking, there's no one coming, so I can go. Once I turn into this street, speed limit is 50. Let's say the examiner has asked me to pull over on the left, so I'm gonna go ahead and indicate left, and then I'm gonna pull over on the left, and then let's say the examiner has asked me to reverse in a straight line. So I'm gonna put the car in reverse. I'm gonna check my mirrors. I'm gonna do some shoulder checks. I see there is a car coming, so I'm just gonna wait. Once the car is gone, check again, shoulder check, look behind. Again, you can do something like this. Okay. So you can looking behind more, but every now and then you can actually check the mirror. And usually about 30 meters, the examiner will tell you to stop. Once you stop, you wait for the examiner to give you the next instructions. And sometimes they can be like, when you're ready, you can go. So that's what we're just gonna do now. So we're gonna go ahead and put in drive, indicate mirror, shoulder checks, and then we can go. Once we move off, make sure the indicator is off. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go left at this intersection here. I indicate left. There is a stop sign, so I need to make sure that I stop. Okay, also position the vehicle properly. Stop completely, looking around. There's no one coming, so I can go. And then here there is a car coming, so I'm actually gonna stop and wait for it. Very important. Okay, there's another one, so I'm gonna wait for it as well. And then Let's say the examiner has asked me to do a U-turn. So I'm gonna put on my right indicator, slow the car down, position the vehicle properly, and then I do the U-turn. If you're not sure about how to do these U-turns, the best advice I can give you is to book a driving lesson with a driving instructor. Alright, so once I turn in this new street, I'm just gonna put this down a bit because it's hard to see. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go right, so I'm gonna indicate right. There's no one coming, so I can turn. Once I turn in this street, need to speed up. So the speed limit here is 50. It's an open road, so there is no much obstructions. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go right, so I'm gonna put on my right indicator, slow the car down, check my mirrors, get in the nice turning position, and then I turn. Once I turn the car, check my mirrors, then I see there is another car coming from the other side, but there is enough space, so that's fine. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go right, so I'm gonna indicate right, check my mirrors, slow down nicely. I have to give way to that car. So a lot of people get confused when they're in places like this. So checking around, there's no one else coming, so I can go. You have to give way to oncoming traffic. Once I turn in this street, make sure I don't go too fast, keeping the speed nice and slow. So the speed here is 50, but you can see that there is a lot of cars parked on the side, so you have to be getting ready to give way to cars. So like there, I had to give way to that car because there was a car on my left. Okay, here I have a right of way, so they've waited for me. That's good. Looking around, still need to scan the intersection, give enough space to this car on the left, make sure I'm not too close to them. And then here also there is like a slow point. They call these slow points. So making sure I'm not too fast, giving enough space with the cars on the left. And then here also there is a slow point again. Only one car is allowed in here. So, and also you have to be careful because if you rush it, you might end up hitting the curb. Okay. So that was a little bit of a challenge. Like here you have to be careful because if you rush it, like there are cars coming, you have to be ready to give way. Let's say the examiner has asked me to go right. So I'm gonna indicate, check my mirrors. Then I stop here. I mean, this is an automatic, but sometimes you can also use the handbrake. You don't have to do this, but if you know how to do it, sometimes it's actually easier. Because this is a little bit steep, so. Now, this traffic light also confuses a lot of people when you're doing your driving test at Greenslopes or maybe other places which has a traffic light like this. It's gonna turn to green, but there won't be any green arrow. So I have to watch where those cars are going. So like oncoming traffic. But I'm gonna drive in the center. Just gonna drive in the center. I don't know where the car behind is going. It's actually turning left, but the other one is going right, so I can actually go. So once this car turning left goes, I can go. All right. Then the light has changed to amber, so I'm gonna brake. Again here, if you've done very well during the driving test, I think I said this in the other video, if you've done well in your driving test, like up to this point, if you know that you haven't made any mistakes, the driving test is pretty much over because you've done your 2 maneuvers and you've driven quite for a while. So But still, don't get excited because you might make a mistake in the last 2 minutes of the driving test. A lot of people do that. So you have to stay calm and then focused until you get to the center and you park the vehicle. So here, scanning through the traffic lights. There's another traffic lights coming up, checking through as well. Okay, I'm gonna be going right at the traffic lights coming up, and that takes us back to the center. So I'm gonna indicate right, check my mirrors. I'm gonna move into the turning lane, check my mirror again while I'm braking, and then I stop. So at this point, again, you can see the center is on the right, where that shopping mall is, but the driving test is not over. A lot of people get excited and then they make a mistake in the last 2 minutes of the driving test. Maybe they don't see that the red light has changed, the green light has come on or something like that. That's not good, and a lot of them get a little bit disappointed because of that. So even though you know that the driving test is almost over, just make sure you stay calm until you get to the center and you park the car, and then the examiner, they will tell you whether you passed or whether you failed the test. Okay, so while I'm here, I'm waiting for the light to change. I'm also scanning to see what's happening, because sometimes some of the turns are very sharp. So okay, the light has changed, so I'm gonna start moving, scan through the intersection. It's still green, so I can turn, and then here I'm gonna be going left to go back inside the center. Indicate left, check my mirrors. Now when you're going back to the center, you park the car at a different location, so they get you to park at a different location, but you don't have to worry about that because the driving examiner will give you direction on where to go. Pedestrian crossing, there's no one, so I can turn left, making sure that I don't hit the curb when I'm turning, or maybe hit this pillar here because the turn is quite tight. Okay, so they usually get you to park the car straightforward. Pretty much, it's very easy to park. I'm not gonna park there because I can obstruct other vehicles which are coming back from the test, so I'm just gonna go and park somewhere else. But that you park in that place, it's very easy. When you coming back to park, you just drive straight in. It's pretty much very, very simple. So I'm gonna park on my left here. Right, checking. There's a car, but they're gonna wait for me. Sure that I don't hit it. Park nicely. Right. Park, handbrake. Then remove the seat belt. Alright guys, so that's it for today. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Also, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified every time we release new videos. Check us out on Instagram as well. We are going to start doing some things on our Instagram page. So if you are interested, you can just go to our Instagram page and just give it a like so that when we post some stuff there, you are one of the first ones to know. Otherwise, if you are doing your driving test soon, I wish you the best of luck. So with Greenslopes, if you're doing your test at Greenslopes or if you're doing it at any other centers, if you practice, maybe do some driving lessons with a professional driving instructor. Like I say, it doesn't necessarily have to be an instructor from our driving school. It can be any instructor, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's how you're gonna prepare to pass the driving test. Do a lot of practice, watch some of these videos, and also do some lessons with the driving instructor, and that should help you to pass your driving test. All right, see you next time.